Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by ConsultWebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms that feels like we know you from somewhere. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in legal marketing and law firm management. I am Jake Sanders, and he's Paul Julius, and together we have 75 years of experience. What do you think of that, Paul?
Sorry, I was just trying to do some math in my head to see how we ended up at that number. It's
Don't question it.
So wait, then you carry the 2, and there's a.
I'm a leap year, baby.
How do you convert fractions into decimals again?
And metrically, I'm a different number than
standard. Don't even get me started on conversions.
And Gregorian calendars. We have to get our mindsets clear. We have to focus. Today's about that. It's about that topic.
Yeah, let's focus. Today on the show, we're focusing on mindset, visualization, and achieving goals. First, with an article from our friends at Crisp Video. And then we talk to Stacey Barenfus of the Catalyst Group and Limitless with Stacey B. And of course, we gain deep insights into our guest's frame of mind with 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The article today on the Hot Take Buffet is from crispvideo.com. It's written by Michael Mogul, the head of the operation over there. It's entitled 7 Mindset Habits of the Attorneys Behind Today's Fastest Growing Law Firms. So deliberately titled, it's 9 to 11 minutes to read. It's actually really nice, though. There's plenty of links to other business professionals, books, on mindset and psychology, and links to all these lists that he quotes. But he breaks it down to these 7 habits. 1, these lawyers are ambitious. 2, they're engaged in their business. 3, they hold themselves accountable. 4, they're respectful. 5, they're willing to change. 6, they're lifelong learners. And 7, they set clear expectations. It's a fine article. It outlines, it is pretty in-depth. And I you guys should click through, check out Crisp. The videos they make are really high quality. And this is a nice, article. But other than that, it's like, of course, these mindset habits, it wouldn't be anything other than this. Or are there people who are successful that aren't ambitious and they're sort of disengaged and they kind of evade responsibility and they're sort of mean and they're not willing to change? Actually, some successful people do have those characteristics. It's interesting.
Say, accountability, respect, being willing to change. There's a whole part of learning about business that it's basically change management. Every business has to change. So
right,
there's something there. But I understand the other side of it too, where some things, hey, we've always done it this way, and that's why people keep buying LL Bean chinos or whatever it is.
Those chinos are going hot too.
Hey,
you got to get those chinos now. No, but there are these patterns that happen, and then there's these emergent things. And I think this article is good because like it or lump it, your situations, what's happening, the ins and outs, the intakes, and all of the business, things that are happening are going to go up and down. What I like about Stacey is she talks about mindset and then attaching it to metrics and how you have to really get those aligned properly. And it just doesn't stop at mindset. And I think Michael gets it too here in his article, because he's lining out these things that are principles that if you can sort of get behind, of course they're going to unlock some success. But how would you know that you've been successful? Like, will you know that, your mind has been set. And I'm just kind of doubtful if I'm the person that needs to go in there to change everything, because I'm going to give myself a pass on a lot of these things. I was like, of course I'm ambitious. I'm driven. I'm a driven person, you know? And you might not be. So I think the danger here is like, how do you know if your mindset's set right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I was kind of looking at too. I like number 7 here is the one that really stuck out to me. They set clear expectations. And that's something that, you kind of touched on there, and we talked to Stacy about later. In this article, they're talking about expectations, I think, for the team you're leading, or the company you're leading, or the firm. But you have to do it for yourself, I think, as well. You can't just be like, I'm going to be happier, or I'm going to have,
or you guys are going to be happier.
yeah. Or we're going to have, more money or whatever. Like, you have to be very clear about it. And I think something that Stacy said, that we go into more is making sure that what your goals, what the goals you're setting are things that you actually deeply want to achieve, that it aligns with that mindset. Because if it doesn't, you're going to find yourself either achieving these goals and still not feeling like you got anywhere, or, you'll just never make it there, because what you actually want and your goals are not running, they're not going to converge at any point here. So I think there's something to that. And I also, one other add on this with the setting clear expectations is making sure that expectations are set regarding things you can control. I think that's just the last thing. And doing that for the same thing, like, you're not going to, hold your intake team responsible for, if the outcome of a case is not favorable. You know what I mean? Like, you can't.
It's gotten so far past, right?
Don't go looking. There's the flip side of this is don't go looking for blame. And I think that's something Stacy talks about as well. Is and it's on this list too. Is personal accountability, taking responsibility, and I think that ties into expectations as well.
And that hold themselves accountable, and in what way? And what you're saying is that this change management, as you're overseeing it in your business, it has to have some personal import to you, because, or you have to have some personal engagement with it. So the daily rituals, that Stacy talks about later, some of her advice, really simple things that you can, just twist around and adjust. Small little changes that can have big effects, because maybe you can't, it's hard maybe to get to this 7 list, or it's hard to maybe feel that you need to meditate in a field for 2 hours, because I don't have that kind of time, and I really appreciate it. But you have to set aside some time. So set aside some time now. Listen to the interview here with Stacy. We talk about mindset, but we attach it to marketing, just like Michael's attaching it here to metrics that you can understand, things that you can measure, market share, mindsets, money, changing the way we mentally think and flexibly adapt to the world. It's all coming up next. It's Lawsome. It's Jake Sanders. It's Paul Julius. It's ConsultWebs. It's Stacy B. And it's going down.
Let's go.
Lawsome continues. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Since 1999, ConsultWebs has been helping law firms connect with clients on the web, connect digital marketing success with firm success, and connect their business goals to proven strategies that help them get the most out of their legal marketing. Go to consultwebs.com to learn more.
And now, a Lawsome interview.
Stacy Barenfuss is the founder and CEO of Catalyst Group, a 7-figure operation and one of the top real estate teams in the state of Idaho. Stacy's inside-out methodology helps female change makers do the internal work to get to the core of the issue so they can see the truth, accelerate to freedom, create success with ease, and become limitless. And so, without further ado, we welcome Stacy to Lawsome. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me.
give us a background. Tell us what you do specifically and how you got here.
Absolutely. So I have, for the last 14 years, been in the residential real estate space and run my real estate company. 2 years ago, I added a development and new construction side to the business so that we were empowered as a team to take opportunities, that cross our desk when they
Wow.
do. And then have, since in the last few years, been developing two different programs to, one, empower those real estate agents that don't have that business training. That's more what my team is running with. And then moving forward with female change makers to help
Mm.
them pursue freedom that's truly attainable. So
Mm.
that's everything that I've been working on.
Mm.
And the backstory is I was I was a senior in high school, kidding with my friends about applying as a salesperson at a local resort real estate office. They were hiring, and like I said, joking around to submit my application. And
Mhm.
they ended up calling me and hiring me as an assistant to one of the coordinators. And that was the beginning of the journey. I started to see, because it was 2004, 2005, things were crazy booming. And I saw how a lot of real estate agents were treating their clients, and just I saw an opening, a gap in the market that I could fill. And so that inspired me to then pursue getting licensed and starting the journey.
Mhm. And so our show's mainly focused for lawyers and stuff. How do you interact with lawyers, and then specifically, how does that change into the female change maker thing? How can you kind of connect these dots? Because you come across lawyers, and maybe you think they're great, maybe you don't. Can you rap about that, the kind of integration in between law, and then how that might specifically help a female law firm owner?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's several different elements that I can speak to, with regards to getting to the root of whatever may be, holding them back mindset wise. In a
Mm.
law firm, leading however many, associates you may have, leading from that point, and not only keeping in mind what you want to achieve as the leader of the firm, what you want to, how you want to impact the world,
Mm.
not only focusing on that, but if you can also, bring together whatever your associates are pursuing, what their personal and professional goals are, make that a focus as well. And in doing
Mm.
that, everyone lifts to the top together. And by their success, obviously the entire firm is successful.
Oh my God. Well, and it's interesting because it echoes a lot of professional development that people are yearning for when they get their JD or they pass the bar and then they go possibly into big law. The reason why, and that's a very small percentage of lawyers who go into this, there are professional development. They take it seriously at bigger law firms. They want to help grow better lawyers. And solos and smalls don't have that time. Maybe they feel they like the entrepreneurial spirit. They think it's good, but they just don't have time. You're talking about mindset, and it seems like that's transferable to the busy solo small firm owner who may just have one associate. Or may have no associates, and they're the associate. Talk about mindset here. When you're saying taking advantage of opportunities, is mindset the answer? That's it? It's just that easy, Stacey?
It's not it by any means.
Darn it.
I know, I wish, right? But you know what it is it's the foundation to weather any storm. And, especially if you are a, solo law type of firm, where solo lawyer,
Mhm.
or you have a large firm,
Mhm.
it's important in both cases. And so with mindset, the thing you have to realize is that it is a daily practice, whatever that practice is that works for you. I have some different practices that I'll share
Mm.
that work really well, no matter how busy I am, if I have 3 minutes or I have 30 minutes. But approaching mindset in the way that it's it's like your garden, right? You have to water the plants and give it sunshine for it to grow. And thinking about your garden, your internal space in that same vein is so important to achieve not only the goals that you want, but do it in a calm and from a powerful inner space. You're able to make clearer decisions and also move your business, accelerate your business forward at a more rapid pace because you're not forcing it. You're really clear in your mindset and able to move forward.
And so mindset too tied to what metrics? Do you say, well, I'm 100% mindset driven and well, I had 80, how do you tie a metric to the mindset or should we be thinking like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So everything that I do, it's funny. I wanted to be a lawyer before I was going into international business and law.
A lot of lawyers say you made the right call. Continue.
Well, and what's funny is I'm very, I have that mindset of being very, by the law, by the book,
right,
contract driven, all of that. But going back to mindset and how to tie that into metrics.
Right.
What that really looks like is, in our business, identifying that outcome that we want to achieve, break down how, many people and connections I need to make every day, and then prepare. So there's that metric side of it, and then preparing myself for success every single day so that when I have those opportunities across my desk, I get into those conversations, I am at my best. And it's a natural yes for people because I am providing so much value because I took the time to, work on that mindset.
Well, and I think there's something too where, we hear it a lot, fake it till you make it. Right. And I think a lot of people blow that off or just say, oh, hey, that it's just kind of, whatever, you can just do it to get past. But I think there's something more to that statement, fake it till you make it. And if you really look at it deeper and start using that combined with that mindset, maybe building like a model of where you want to be and who you are when you get there. So I really think there's something to be said for modeling who you want to become. Do you have any advice or thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. And coming from someone that started, I started at 19 and did have that fake it till you make it mentality at first because I was going into a new industry, didn't know anyone. And that was, the phrase back then. But what I quickly learned was taking it from that fake it till you make it mentality. And actually what I ended up doing was I made a list, and this isn't just in my professional world. I do this in my personal world as well, is I make a list of all of the things that make up what I want to become. So I think of it more of who do I want to become and who is the person, for example, that wants to succeed at this level. What are the characteristics about them? And how do I become that? What does that person walk like? What does this person talk like? And model yourself, but be super intentional about it. And then from there, just to tie in the personal world is, if you could design your perfect relationship, like everything that your partner, you want your partner to do and be and all of that, making that list and then making sure that you are showing up in those ways because you can't ask for something you're not willing to step into and that you're not taking action on. Right. And so just looking at it, from that modeling perspective and taking it a step further to ask yourself constantly, because we're in constant evolution, as human beings in our professional world and in our careers, and just constantly asking yourself, am I behaving in the way that matches someone that would succeed at this level?
Well, so there, you do fake it a little bit. I mean, like, is confidence this, you feel like you're faking it, but you're actually doing it. I mean, is there some sense to reality of that? Like if you're calling upon yourself to say, am I doing this right? Even if you're doing it, you're doing it. I mean, is that too meta? Is that too?
No, it's it's a great conversation because so many people think that confidence is something you're born with. And if you study any greats in history, I love studying Abe Lincoln and just how he
Mm-hmm.
processed things. Any,
Mm-hmm.
Famous person, hero you look up to, they all have a story of how they were so insecure or doubted themselves, but had a moment where they decided that it starts and stops with me, and
Mm-hmm.
I am making a bet on myself. I believe in myself, and constantly reminding themselves of that. And then once you go through that and you have experience and you have expertise in different avenues of life,
Mm-hmm.
that becomes natural. But it is something that has to be cultivated. It isn't just something we're born with, like a lot of people think.
I love that. Well, and it's very important. And a lot of trial lawyers probably feel that too. I mean, my father-in-law, he's a trial lawyer and he's just terrified of it when he had to do it. Did great, but it was like a natural fear, of going in front of people. I was like, but isn't that your job? It was really confusing. But
Tough line to work.
it's like,
It's like chose anything, Dad.
Yo-Yo Ma's throwing up in a bucket before he has to go out on stage. You're like, geez, Yo-Yo.
Yeah. Well, so just to build on that next thing, when we're talking about like kind of visualizing it, and I think it does take some kind of presence and mindfulness to get yourself there. But I read something interesting about you when I was doing research for this interview, and I'd like you if you could explain the distinction between what you really want and what you think you can achieve.
Yes, it's one of my favorite topics. So often, and it's not even so often, as humans, we have programming, right? Our parents were raised by the people that raised them, which developed their habits, beliefs, and rituals. And so that is downloaded to us, even though we sometimes didn't even know the people that raised our parents in some instances. So our programs in how we're raised set us up to either believe we can do something to a certain extent or hold us back. And so a lot of times we think we want something. We think we want to achieve something, but the place that we're coming from are the limitations, the container of where and how we were raised. And the next step in that is to go through a process, which is asking yourself, what is it that I, want to achieve? And then ask yourself, is that really the reach? Is that really, that stretch goal for me and what I want to go for? Or am I limiting myself based upon my beliefs? And do I need to check myself and upgrade my belief system to accommodate that stretch goal that I want to achieve? So the distinction is, checking yourself on what is it that you really want, and is that yours or is it part of your program?
Well, and the next question is about looking at financials for the validation. And you're talking about something that's beyond just the money. So why do you think you need a deeper purpose than money to get through the hard times? And financials are a part of it, but are they the whole picture? Is that the metric that you can measure success by? So speak on that. Is it deeper than money, or can we just cash our chips and go home?
Yeah, it's so much deeper than money, and I think we need to remember that money is a tool, right? It is a way to buy goods and services, and we give it so much more meaning. We identify, our worth and our success in the world based upon if we have X or don't have X.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so while I'm in no way suggesting, that the success of a business isn't
tied to money. Yeah, right. They're like, wait a minute. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's absolutely about numbers.
Totally.
Yes. But your metrics on how you are succeeding needs to be connected to that deeper purpose. And a lot of people will get caught up, you've all heard about the what's your big why? What is it that's driving you? And that can be such a big question that people can't yet answer, that they say, oh, I'm just going to attach it to money. I'm going to attach it to this financial.
For now, maybe that's just like a placeholder thing.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Wow.
And through that process, just know you will find your purpose, but know that if you attach it to money in the beginning and don't revisit that, it's going to be an up and down, journey as far as,
Mm,
how you feel about things because you're connected to an external circumstance, right? Again,
mm,
money is a tool.
mhm.
And so you're at the whim of if you have it or you don't. And so it can be a lot of different mood swings, right? Instead of
Sure.
being really connected to your purpose.
Right.
So just a quick follow up on that, because this is going to be odd. To I mean, obviously lawyers, a lot of our clients, a lot of the people, Jake used to be a marketing director in a law firm. I've worked with lots of lawyers, and they do have, I mean, they have to take that oath. There is a sense of service, right?
Mm,
There is a sense of duty, but at the same time, it's that's hard to measure. So
mm,
when you're saying like look for these bigger purposes, are you saying like look, you have to look inside and set yourself a goal of, I'm going to, for a lawyer maybe take X amount of pro bono cases, or like how would you kind of specify what those non, you know book related, non-financial kind
mhm.
of goals, like how would I meet that goal? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, the question to ask yourself is what is it that is my contribution to the world? Because even if we, don't have the connection that, we feel to our purpose or aren't clear on that yet, I think it's pretty, consistent that people can say like, this is what I enjoy contributing to the world. And that be consistent, whether, you're in your personal world or your professional world. You show up, you're the friend that's either, detailed on everything, you're planning everything, like you enjoy that, right? You show that up that way in your work as well. So I think understanding that it's not this like big esoteric, what's my purpose, that it's actually really simple, and asking yourself, what is it that I enjoy to do most? And knowing yourself in that way, because if you first connect to that, it's going to be sustainable because you're in your genius. You're enjoying what you're doing every
Mm,
day. And so once you can connect to that, the metrics that you can build are, in the example of, I want to take these types of cases. I want to help, these types of people. I
mhm,
think that there's the metric to that is, how many clients in that world of work, how many clients are you serving in that way?
mm.
And what is your unique value proposition? Like what is it that you're doing differently for those people that when you leave your industry, it's going to be better because you were there?
Okay, so you've given us all this thought, really amazing marketing tips right there. Awesome stuff on mindset at the beginning, kind of hitting in on how we strategically get the mindset attached with our goals externally and internally. But if you could just tell our listeners one thing that they could start doing today, right now, that would help them improve their law firms, what would it be?
I would really suggest putting into place a daily ritual. And what I mean by that, so before I go into that,
Hmm.
it's so important right now because of everything that's happening in the world,
Right.
but not only how everything is going, but how many people you can impact if you come from a controlled, clear state as you approach each day. And so what I recommend, I call it my triple threat.
Mm.
And so it's three things, and you can do it, in 10 minutes, or if you have more time, 30 minutes. But it's 3 minutes of conscious breathing, and you just simply set a timer on your phone for 3 minutes, close your eyes, and just breathe and try to pay attention to your breath.
Mm.
Simple to the point.
Mhm.
The second thing is to write down three things you're grateful for, because setting the foundation of connecting to yourself and your breath, because I know it seems simple, but many of us don't even do that.
Right.
Have that clear foundation, and then you tell your brain to focus on what's good. And if nothing comes to mind because maybe you're in a hard time, hard
Mhm.
season in life,
Mm.
think about that you were able to walk yesterday to the coffee shop. I mean, simple, because if you start to see the simple, the good in your life, your brain wants to look for more of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second step. And the third step is reviewing my 3 short and long-term goals. So intertwining that in my daily practice keeps me focused, and it can keep you focused as well, and set up this foundation that every day you can continue to cultivate and grow.
How can people learn more and find you online, Stacy? This is brilliant stuff. How can they come and be a part of your methodology and find you online?
Yes. Yeah. So my website is the best place to go, and that is limitlesswithstacyb.com. My last name is quite long, and many people just call me Stacy B. Keep it simple. So limitlesswithstacyb.com.
5 questions we ask everyone.
What was the last book you read?
The 5 a.m. Club.
Nice. Number 2, what is your favorite place?
India.
Okay, number 3, what sites, blogs, newsletters, or podcasts do you regularly check in with?
Yes. So I really like Kyle Cease. That's Cease. He's a comedian, and now he's, talking about meditation and everything. But the way that he speaks about things is you're able to relate to him. He's funny. And anyway, so a lot of good stuff he's putting out. And then, I think Simon Sinek is the other one that I always enjoy reading his articles.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Number 4. If you thought that last one was hard. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one condiment to take with you, what would it be?
Does guacamole count?
There's no rules here, Stacy. That absolutely
I would choose
counts.
guacamole. I have it every day after work. It's my
nice.
Yes.
Guacamole.
Awesome. Okay, last one. After a long day or a long week at work, how do you relax and unwind?
It's so funny. I'm like, how do I relax and unwind? It's traveling, like just going on a long drive. We live near, a lot of like mountains and hiking and stuff like that. So just getting into the mountain air and escaping that way is definitely a way to unwind.
For show notes, links, and info, go to thelawsomepodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawsome.